What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Addicted Hunting Podcast. I'm Sean Keller.
Cliff Salee.
Andrew Thompson.
Marlon, I'm back.
Marlon's back.
Marlon's back.
All right, today we're going to talk about a sensitive subject to, I'm sure, many out there. We're going to talk about pay to play, and what I mean by that is we're talking about private timber companies charging the public to enter their timberlands to hunt, and how it's affected our lives positively and negatively. We got the best of both worlds here. Marlon is a hardcore advocate. He buys a permit every year and he loves it. And I'm kind of on the fence about it. I don't know how I feel about it, but we're going to kind of have a conversation. And we really would like to know how this has affected you guys out there. So
Definitely.
Please let us know in the comments below how pay-to-play has affected you. And this isn't just happening here in the Northwest. It's starting to happen across the Midwest and down south from what I've heard and read. So this affects almost everybody nationwide. And even the whitetail guys on the east side, they're used to just paying for leases and stuff. It's not necessarily a timber company that they're buying a lease from, but a farmer or whatnot.
Ranches.
So this kind of applies to everybody in a sense, but we're going to kind of focus on the timber companies here in the Northwest and how they've affected us with our hunting and accessing lands that essentially it's been open for us to hunt for free for so many years.
We've been spoiled because you look at the guys like down in Texas. Try to find anywhere to hunt down in Texas that you're not going to pay.
Yeah, I'm sure there's very little public land there.
Yeah, that's Texas. But here's the thing: is we've just been spoiled. So we've had the advantage of being able to go out on private land for X amount of time. Now, this is where it gets to the bad part: is that there's been people that have abused it, and I feel like that's why they've gone to it. Like, I mean, if I own something, it'd be the same thing. Like, if somebody, like, I don't want people in my yard, but if somebody was paid to play, like, they want to come in. First off, like I was saying earlier before the podcast, is like, I know they're not going to mess with anything. They paid to be there. I would think that they're responsible enough that if they're going to give me money to be on my property, they're probably not going to mess anything up.
Yeah, the strong majority.
Yeah, because I know, like, I was doing some research on it before we really got into this, because I'm on the fence. I'll try to find pockets of public land and hunt those. But so I don't really care too much, and I guess until it affects me, because I didn't have areas that were lost due to this.
But it has affected you in a sense that when they do pay to play and they only allow certain amount of permits, all those guys that refuse to buy those permits are going somewhere else. And then in return, that affects the guys that were hunting public land, state land,
for sure,
national forest. So, I mean, it affects you regardless. And some people it affects them positively. I mean, I see a lot of positive things about it. At first, I was really upset because I got pretty much pushed out of land that I grew up hunting.
Right.
And I never even hunted national forest or state land, maybe a tiny bit of state land, but I only hunted Weyerhaeuser timberland, not to name drop. I mean, all the timber companies are kind of resorting to that around here.
Yeah.
But
I heard Western Timber's thinking about it.
Yeah. And we'll get into that because I see pros and cons of that also. But, all that land that I grew up hunting since I was 9 years old till I think the first year they went to pay to play, I was 21.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's been a while now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been
a lot of years, and then all of a sudden I'm thrown into the wolves to go find something new. That's a blessing in disguise. Because I broadened my horizon. I went out and I figured out how to do it in different areas. So, that's another positive.
You just chose not to pay.
You're right. There you go. That is a good point. Yeah.
I just chose to pay and continue to pay in the area that I've hunted for a really, really, really long time, and to me it's like been nothing but amazing because it's turned an area that originally, and you've hunted the same area back in the day, used to just be hundreds upon hundreds of road hunters just cruising the roads. And it's made it like a legitimate, it's like a hunting, it's back to what it should be. It's like a hunting area. There's only hunters in there, guys that actually care about hunting, not all these freaking fat dudes rolling in the roads with their freaking beers and cigarettes, and dude, I will say another thing too is like I used to see garbage, and I picked up garbage in there all the freaking time before it went to pay to play.
Yep.
There is no garbage in there now, none at all,
and
that's a test to what Cliff's saying. Like, people, when you're paying for something, it gives it more like a little bit of ownership to you. Like, it's you got skin in the game, so you care about where you're at. You know, and our public lands all over the place, like regardless of what we want to say or not, are destroyed.
Absolutely.
I agree.
It's horrible. And so Weyerhaeuser, what are they supposed to do, dude? They own it's an investment for them that they've bought. You know, would we rather them just freaking log it all and just build houses all over every single piece of it? Or would we rather them let us turn it in, let us continue to hunt it? And, you know, they may not manage it very well and all that kind of crap, but at least they're allowing sportsmen and hunter to use their land. They could be like, stay the hell off of it. Nope. They could be like Storwall's Rock Pit and be like, check out all these badass bass ponds that we built, but no one can fish them.
Yep.
We need to bleep that out, because that's
for every action, there's a reaction. And yes, like the Weyerhaeuser land has gotten better. It's cleaner. There's a lot less people using it, or the proper people using it for that matter. But that also pushed those people that were abusing the privilege again onto public lands, and now I'm noticing even more garbage on public lands, and that sucks. And there's got to be like some stricter enforcement like out there to help that. But
they're just going to shut it down. Eventually, they'll shut it down. There's so many places like where they've dug out the roads and everything. I mean, because I know you've seen them, like we all have. They're just going to make it to where we can't get back in there. Like, that's what it's going to come down to.
Have you guys ever seen those YouTube videos where that guy sits there and he says, like, he's like got the sign in front of him and it says, like, change my mind? Yeah. Have you seen those videos? Like, I want to do that. I want to sit at like a Weyerhaeuser gate or a forest land gate and be like, pay to play is the way to go, change my mind. Because I can give you an argument for every single reason why. Like, it should be that way. Yeah. Because it makes people care.
I agree.
But
it makes people care.
But I think the public land should be treated the same way too. I mean,
but it's not. That's the bad part. Is the people. And
it shouldn't take paying to play to make people care, though. I mean, as sad as that is, like I understand, like, you know, you're paying money, you're investing. Public lands, or you should invest in public lands as well.
I absolutely agree, but the sad reality is that it doesn't happen.
The thing is I don't want our country to turn into like Europe, where there is no public lands and only the rich people can hunt. Yeah. That's the only thing is I don't, just like with these gun laws, like these little tiny gun laws are coming up, and it's just like stepping stones for them to one of these days eventually take it all away. Yeah. I don't want this to be the next stepping stone, them to just keep making us pay, so where all of a sudden, like, you know, the middle and low class can't even afford to hunt.
Right.
That's what scares me.
Yeah.
I get that, yeah.
But this is kind of on a tangent, but, you know, we're talking about the trash issue, right?
Yeah.
So I have this idea. I want to try with addicted hunting, and guys, let me know. I'm going to do a post on our Facebook and Instagram and see how you guys feel about this, but I want to start a rendezvous. Like, get the whole group together, meet in a different forest location every year.
I dig it.
And we're gonna do like a trash cleanup, and just everybody show up. And I'm sure there's groups out there doing this now, but maybe help.
I don't know of any, but hey, why not?
Idea.
Yeah, help pick up the forest. So maybe, you know, we're putting a little bit of a dent in it and helping the cause.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I'm out there, it doesn't matter. Like, if I'm miles deep, like if I see it doesn't matter if it's a balloon. And I always have this weird thought in my mind. I'm like, if I pick that up and throw it in my pack, like I'll tell you guys right now, I'm a spiritual dude. Like, I believe in God and all that. I'm like, well, God reward me for doing this, you know. And like, there's bigger crap that's going on that to worry about me and picking up a damn balloon.
Yeah.
But I'm still gonna pick it up. I'm gonna throw it in my pack. Like, dude, I did it last weekend. I picked up garbage in the bottom of the canyon.
Yeah, like, I do that all the time.
It was one can, but it was like.
Especially when I'm in like places deep, like especially when we're shed hunting and stuff a lot, and you're just hiked in deep, and you find just a one that ran, I always pick it up.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, that's one piece of garbage that's not going to be there for 20 years. I'm freaking taking it.
Oh, and I believe in karma. Like, I mean, not only are you doing a good thing, but I feel like kind of going on what Cliff's saying, like, you keep doing these good things and you're going to be rewarded.
Find giant sheds for every piece of garbage.
Yeah, everybody out there, yeah.
That's a trick.
The more
When you start
garbage,
picking
the
up
more
garbage,
shit,
you find big sheds.
Well, yeah, because you're looking at the ground the whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, back on topic. Here we go.
So, and another issue I have with it, so, and I don't know how correct my resources are or how true they are, but so back in the day, I don't know if I think it was like the 1950s or maybe earlier, a lot of the land
41. I looked at it today.
It was granted.
1941. Okay, well, a lot of the land was given to the timber companies from the federal government to boost the economy, timber sales and whatnot. And so I don't know what the acreage is or what, how many acres were allotted. But that right there, they granted these timber companies all this land that used to be public land, and then now they're charging us to use that land, 50 or 70 years later. It's that hurts me a little bit too. So that's like one of the
which I can, being that it is, they own that property. Like, I understand. If you owned a piece of property and people were wanting to use it, I understand the charging people the thing. But it was public for this long, and then all of a sudden, just boom, we're just going to start charging.
Well, it was never public, though.
No, not public. Sorry, it was private. They allowed us access to that land.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, these, they took it away.
for a good reason.
For valid reasons.
Their equipment was getting vandalized.
Dude,
the trash.
there was so much stuff.
Millions of
You
dollars.
saw the original statements and stuff they were putting out of like the amount of money they were losing, and timber was getting stolen, and all sorts of crazy stuff, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, imagine having to try to manage that much land. Like,
yeah.
I mean, imagine think about managing your yard and then times that by like
a billion,
exactly.
Quadrillion.
That's what I mean. It's like, dude, I get where you guys come from it, but I just always look at it from like a logical perspective, and I'm not into like feel good politics and stuff. I look at it from a logical perspective, and those guys have a business that they're running that employs millions of people. Probably they have, it's, I don't know what the decisions that drives it, and I think it would help if they did more for sportsmen. What would be nice is if manage the land correctly, at least at the bare freaking minimum.
Start burning slash piles.
Yeah, clean.
Get rid of the tansy and the damn.
And I'm not singling out any of these timber companies. I'm just saying like
suggestions.
Like, dude, like there's definitely some things that could be done, or work with sportsmen to. There's area. I feel like some areas need to be preserved. Like one of the areas that I hunt, it's like, dude, they leave nothing. They leave nothing, dude. It's like once a tree gets to a certain size, boom! The whole freaking lot gets cut. They plant new ones, and it's just like then they wait for the next little pack of them to freaking grow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they don't leave any, and I feel
they need to manage it a little bit better.
Yeah, I feel like God. Why not leave 1 acre of the big? Let it grow and keep 1 acre or something. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't
that's
know.
Actually happening because
they're restricted by. I can't remember the agency, but they're restricted
the
by.
Feds, dude, this year just jumped in October. There's like this something crazy about the word dusky.
I'm going to stop real quick and let everyone out there listening, please take everything that we say on this podcast with a grain of salt.
We're
and
not
as true freaking facts.
Yeah.
We ain't
not
experts. We're just talking about things that we may have heard or may have seen online or whatever. So we're just chatting, guys.
Yeah.
Don't
Good
take
call,
this
Marlon.
serious.
Good call.
So there's this frog. It's some like dusky something. It seems like everything that's endangered's name is dusky. So there's this frog. It's like somewhere in the south, and like they're kind of up in arms about it right now because the feds have stepped in over Weyerhaeuser and said that this area needs to be protected. You guys can't do anything in here. So like. I don't know where that's going to go. Like, this just came up in October. I was just kind of thumbing through some stuff today before we came in here because, like, I'm not even going to claim that I'm educated on the whole, like, pay to play because I don't pay. Like, I'll go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But I did read that today, and I thought that was pretty interesting that Like some people are like up in arms about it. It's like, how can they do that? It's private and this and that.
So for me, originally when I first started doing it, it was like I just wanted to know. And I kind of wanted to know how many people were in there. I wanted to know, like, okay, yeah, 300 permits get bought, but how many people are actually hunting in this area? And what I found out really quickly on the first year was you pretty much had the most giant freaking area of land to yourself. Like, there's guys in there, but like, I mean, in my area, I have like 7 trail cameras set up all over the place and got one picture of one dude. You know, like, you have just all this land to yourself. And then, like, when predator hunting comes, there's no one. No one's in there. There's just no one hunting. So, where's public land? I go with you, and it's like, oh, yeah, you're like, let's go hunting. And I know you kill shit on public land. Lots of people do. But it's like, we roll up to the gate, and we get out, and I'm like, dude, I would never even stop here. I would roll right freaking by. There was like 6 trucks parked. I'm like, you know, and then I'm going in my area, and I will sometimes hunt and hike and drive, you know, be hunting all day and never see a person. Never see one guy. And that's during modern firearm.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty insane.
So, like, that's why you pay to play. You know, I don't think all the pay to play areas are like that. And obviously, I spend a lot more time than the average guy, you know, so.
Well, and the cool thing about the pay to play too, and with Weyerhaeuser, is they allow you to access it 365.
Yes.
And you also get to cut 2 cords of firewood.
Yeah, so I was going to talk about some of those other benefits. So like the wood, I take the wood every year, which is amazing. You get 2 cords of firewood. Mm-hmm. So it's like you pay for the permit, but do you really pay for it? No, because
you just paid for your firewood.
2 cords of wood.
Yeah.
Some other cool things that they did this year too, which I took advantage of, was, especially because you've been hunting an area forever, they did a guest permit. So, like, if I had a buddy, it was like, dude, I want to go fill a deer tag. I'm like, oh, that's easy. Let's go here. Buy a guest permit.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't find out about that till this year, and I thought that was a pretty cool little.
I mean, imagine if you were on the elk. Like, imagine if all your buddies were on the elk, you know, because I have lots of buddies that buy the permits in the elk areas. And it's like, you could just buy buddies' permits and be filling elk tags if you're on them good.
Well, and another point, like when you killed your bull this year, like you were calling everybody to come help you, but you could only call people with the permit.
Yep.
So I mean, and
that's a little sketchy and dicey.
Yeah, that's tough, you know, especially if you solo hunt a lot, you know, like Marlon does a lot of solo hunting, and you know, you kill.
I would have got it out of there. It just would have sucked.
Yeah,
but my little Toyota would have just smashed down that road and ran over all those trees.
I bought the Weyerhaeuser permit the first year. Because I kind of wanted to test out and see how it was, and it was pretty awesome. Like Marlon said, there was a lot less people in there. I mean, I can't complain. I filled all my tags in like the first 3 days, so like, dude, the hunting was amazing.
This last year was the first year in all the, like, I bought the permit now for 6 or 7 years. This was the first year I hadn't shot a deer in there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So 6 years in a row I've shot.
Not that you didn't have the chance.
Oh, I passed on deer in there this year. Yeah. I did.
Now you ask anybody around here, the average hunter, how many deer did you pass up on this year? And what are they going to say?
Too many.
Well, but like the average hunter, what are they going to say? They'd be like, you saw a spike? You didn't shoot it?
Yeah.
It was legal?
Yeah.
Like that's
old school yak.
Yeah.
That's what's so cool about it is not only the trophy potential that comes with it. Like, dude, we're 6 years in, right? Or however many years it is. I don't even know how many years it is.
Yeah, 7 years.
But,
I think,
dude, you have animals that don't have to worry, because you cannot tell me like that. We'll use the for example. That poaching was not just super big.
That is one
in that area.
That's a very good positive to this. Is that
anywhere next to like a big city, that has access that quick.
I do agree with
poaching, ridiculous.
You know it was.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just there, but many of our local spots
for sure.
You know that suffered severely. I mean, you put a gate on a road and make people get a key. You know, you're gonna decrease the poaching significantly.
Yep.
Well, and I've seen that on public land where they did gate it, and the amount of animals in there is abundant. I mean,
I love seeing gates. I'm not going to lie. I love seeing gates.
Yes.
I'm a fan of
I'm not afraid to walk.
I just don't want to see them gate off an area that's 100 square miles
down
because you can't access it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm okay with, gating off like 20 square miles.
Have a main road go through.
Yeah, where you
Yeah.
can access it somewhat.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not afraid to put 20 miles on my feet in a day.
I know that.
You guys aren't. I know you guys aren't. But so that that's kind of like one of those things that's on the fence there. But
I like gates.
Yes.
That's my big snafu with the pay to play is, when I used to hunt archery, back before they shut it down to pay to play, is we used to just hike back in there and we'd be all by ourselves.
Yep.
You get 3 to 4 miles off the main line and you were all by yourself. You didn't run into nobody during archery season. And I remember that first year, I was hunting some lands near it and I was able to glass down there, and there was quite a few trucks just driving around.
Yep.
And they were driving around in prime elk country where I used to. I mean, it wasn't road hunting, but we would just ride our bikes and bugle, our bikes and bugle, and until we found one, and that's how we were successful. And then you get pickup trucks and people in there, and
it pressures the animals.
The pressure is what drove, that's about, honestly, that's my only complaint. Marlon's made some really good points. I'm not all against the pay to play, but I think the pressure that they put on them made the hunting, specifically in my area, a lot harder for a guy who was going to buy that permit. I wasn't going to buy it. I never have bought it. I've just always hunted public land. Not that, when I did hunt Weyerhaeuser, it wasn't public. It was private, but it was accessible.
Yes.
And that's about my only complaint is, during archery season is when they give out these keys and allow people to drive in there. It puts a lot of pressure on those elk.
Well, and I want to touch on a couple other things. So, again, I sway both ways. I see I see
to swing both ways.
He bats from both sides of the plate.
Yep.
Atta girl.
I'm ambidextrous.
Amphibious.
I wish I could shoot a bow left-handed. I've shot Lonnie's a couple times and it's really weird. But who knows? What if I mess something up where I can't draw with my right arm? Maybe I have to start
become
shooting.
a rifle hunter.
Nah. But another cool thing is that we've noticed that they allow more access in the early season with the permits rather than before. They would always shut down the early season to fire danger, and they still do it a little bit, but they're more lenient. And it's been.
I think fire danger has to be a little more extreme now for them to shut it down.
Because they have all these guys paying to access that land.
And they make sure, like we were talking earlier too, is that you have to have the fire extinguisher, you have to have the shovel, a Pulaski. You have to have certain things with you at all times.
Which is good.
Versus before where...
everybody should have that in their rig if they're out in the woods regardless.
Dude, that time of the year, September, when it is drier than a popcorn fart, you better have something to put a fire out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you're driving down grassy roads and your muffler is really
right
hot.
on top of it.
You could start a fire so
Brakes,
easily.
Mufflers, you spark a rock.
Yeah.
Who's throwing a rock and sparked it and you're...
Yeah, I see that more than anything, yeah. Rock sparked, yeah.
So that is a cool thing that they are allowing a little bit more access in the early season. But another thing that worries me too is and it's probably not so much nowadays as it used to be, but a lot of families rely on wild game to feed their families, and lower income people can't afford to spend the $300-400 for a permit every year, and I feel for those people. So
what is it currently for a permit? I have no clue what it is right now.
Marlon?
3. I don't remember.
It depends on what area.
I know
varies.
each one varies.
Yeah.
So, but I remember when
it was $250. Can't remember.
When you first started paying for it. How much was it? It was fairly cheap. It was
cheap.
$150 or something.
It was cheap.
But every year it gets more expensive.
Steadily
And when
increases.
does it stop?
Exactly. So that kind of worries me is when is it going to get so expensive that
it should worry you because you don't pay to play.
Well,
It
but
does.
I might do it someday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, I'm not gonna lie, that gets annoying. And then the increase. Like they'll increase. The first year I hunted the area that I hunt, it was $150, and they let 250 people in there. And then now I'm pretty sure it's 250. It might be 300.
And they allow more.
And they allow 350
It's
people.
Here's
the other thing, and I will start giving a few of the negative things that I found just this year. So when they have active logging operations, they leave the gates wide the F open. And these timber companies can say whatever they want, but the security guards are not rolling around in there. They're just not.
There's one to cover 1 million miles.
They're just not in there. So like during the first 2 days of late buck, which is like the season that I most look forward to in there, which is when you do the best in there, they have the gates wide the F open, and I'm rolling through there, and I'm like, why the F am I seeing so many effing people in here? I'm like, it's a Thursday. I'm like, there's never this many people.
Gates are wide open.
And so I start paying attention, and none of these mother effers have permits, and they're hanging in their windows. And there was just dudes all over in there hunting.
I would be pissed.
Because the gates were wide open.
Yep, and they know they're not going to get... I mean, the chance of them getting caught is very...
And so you just paid whatever
so I was
you paid.
pissed about that. I sent him an email and was like complaining like a mother effer about that.
Yeah.
So another thing that I noticed this year is I'll be like coming out, and like there'll be like a couple guys in front of me or whatever. I'll be like, "Oh, I'll just get the gate for you, man," because they'll have opened it or whatever. And I'll go to close it, and they're not using the recreation lock. They're using like another one, like a freaking DNR lock or something like that. So there's guys that aren't buying their permits that are in there using those locks. Like they're getting in there some other way, and they're not buying recreation permits. So there's just more. I think there's more than 350 people going into that area.
Oh,
so I got a question for you. So over the years that you've been buying them, how many times have you been checked by a security guard?
Twice. And it was in the exact same year.
Really?
So I've been in there for 7 years, been checked by security guards twice, and it was in the same exact year.
That's interesting.
But have
same
you
exact
seen
guy.
him more than twice? Like, have you
Never seen him in there.
Wow.
Only been checked in 7 years. Been checked by a game warden once.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So
you would expect for the price that you pay to have a little more security on the area, because you're paying good money to hunt that area and expecting the amount of people to be in there that they give quotas for.
Yeah.
Well, and I was pretty heated this year during late buck because that's the 4 days that you're like, and usually Thursday, Friday in those areas, there's no one in there. Yeah.
Because people don't take work off. So those are like the days that you capitalize.
Billy Joe Hillbilly.
And dude, I got on one of the main line roads, like on my way to go hunt my spot, and I'm just like passing dudes, and I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, everyone's out today. I'm like, dude, everyone took today off.
Yeah.
And then I start paying attention, and they don't have permits in their windows. I'm like, those mother effers. And then sure when I leave out another gate, it was wide open. And then when I went into the gate coming back in that evening, wide open. I'm like, they're just leaving these open, like wide open. And they had the locks on the outside so you couldn't even close it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they had it like locked open. And it must be, for convenience of the logging trucks in and out, I'm sure. I don't know what it means.
Yeah, because it's a weekday.
They're working.
Yeah.
They're logging in there.
So for these guys, like, say they do get caught, do we know what
they
the penalty
can get in
is?
trouble big time. I know that.
Trespassing, if you have a firearm, it's criminal trespassing. It's a felony.
And don't get it twisted, mother effers, because all you bastards that I saw in there, I took every single one of your license plates.
Boom!
Drop the ball.
Because it just pisses me off. It's like, it's like you pay to play and they didn't pay.
Yeah.
So get out of my play zone.
Right.
Get off my swing set.
The first year that I bought it, I got checked twice, and it seemed like it was a lot just because I was only in there for a few days. But they were pretty thorough with their check. I mean, he had us get out of the pickup. We had to show him our driver's license, our
dude, game wardens don't even ask for that.
No, right? And we had to show them our pass, and then when you're driving around, I don't know how it is then, but you had to have like a number tag hanging in your on your mirror. Yeah. So he was pretty thorough with his check, but
the guys that I ran into were super nice. Check. I mean, yeah, same thing. They were thorough, asked us for our permit numbers, checked our IDs.
Yeah, I mean, they have a job. Like, I mean, that's obviously what they're
But yeah,
doing.
you have to have that permit hanging in the window, and then you have to have like a thing printed off.
But what the security guard told me is the tree farm the area I was hunting, it was one security guard, and they split days. He would be in one tree farm one day, and then a completely other tree farm 50 miles away the next day.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you were a guy that wanted to break that law, you were pretty much, if you figure out where that security guard, you're getting in there.
You're rolling the dice.
Okay, so with the amount of money they're getting from people, don't you think they can afford more security? Marlon?
I don't know, because I don't know what it takes. I don't even know what the cost around it is.
I mean, you mean, say it's $300 and just a specific unit,
We don't know their security numbers, though. We don't know where they have security guards. We don't even know what they're actively security.
Okay, just say it off like what Sean was saying. If they're having one security guard doing multiple different tree farms every other day, I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose.
I honestly don't think that like they really even need the security at the end of the day. Like, it all comes down to, like, you're given keys that you pay for. I mean, if they get like the unfortunate like people, skeezers that like sneak in behind the gates when they're open, hopefully at the end of the day they get locked in and then they can just deal with that in the morning.
Yeah.
But dude, that's what you should have done, was lock the gate, dude.
Yeah.
You should have locked it. You should have left as soon as you saw all of them. But like at the end of the day, the amount of stuff that's been destroyed and all that, like it's worth it. Like, even if they have say 150 to 200 people trespass, like, do people that are sneaking in there are specifically sneaking in there to do what? Probably hunt.
Poach.
Or poach, whatever. But that's what they're in there for. They're not in there like, dude, I'm gonna sneak into Weyerhaeuser land.
Well, and
dump
if
garbage.
they didn't buy the permit and they're going in there, technically they're poaching, whether it's
true
during daylight hours in the middle of the season or not.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's trespass.
yeah,
It's just trespass.
Yeah, but they're not like,
Well,
that's
if
what
they
I'm
shoot
saying. Is
deer,
like,
it's-
they're not going in there and destroying stuff at the end of the day. They're
That's
not in there
poaching. If
cutting
you
down
shoot a deer on
trees.
someone else's land,
Yeah.
it's trespassing.
Yep.
And they consider that poaching.
yeah. I don't know. That's a fine line. People that are brave enough to do that, you're dumb. Quit doing it.
Yeah.
That's
In
what
my
kind of
eyes,
They're
brave
but-
probably
they are.
not listening to us though.
Probably not.
Going back to like, the family stuff, is that I used to go back there just for recreation and just, we all grew up loving the woods.
Yep.
Loving going cruising. That's one thing that I do miss about that pay to play is, getting off work and going on a drive. Just going and seeing what's going on. Or fishing, or
You just got to pay $350, man.
to go drive. Yeah, that's one of the killers, is because I haven't stepped foot on their land.
You think about it though, if you spend as much time as Marlon does in there,
Yeah,
he is
it's worth
getting
it.
every penny.
Well,
It's
especially
worth every
this year,
penny
dude.
you did.
Multi-season?
Yeah, multi-season, like when you have that. Dude, it's so worth it. Especially like if you're into predator hunting and stuff like I am, because you hunt in there all winter and there's just no one. I saw one guy in there coon hunting,
Yeah.
like with his dogs, and he was in there all the time, coon hunting.
What I do got to say though is, if anybody important from Weyerhaeuser, if you are listening to this podcast,
This is
please,
an open invitation.
I know,
Come
but
on.
please at least leave it affordable for everybody. Don't jack up the prices so bad to where your average guy can't hunt anymore.
Dude, because I'm not gonna lie, I make pretty decent money, and if it gets much higher than it is, I ain't buying it.
Yeah, because
it ain't. It's gonna get to the point where I'll feel like it ain't worth it.
Yeah,
literally, I will.
Well, and you can for the amount of, if they jack it up anymore, you can
just
go on
you
can go on an out of state hunt.
Exactly. I'll just go do something else.
You can go on a pretty badass out of state,
Which is bad news, not just for them, but in the same sense
for Washington Fish and Game.
For Fish and Game.
But here's the thing: at the price they have it right now, which I'll have to look, but I think it must be 300. It's got to be upward. But it doesn't matter, because all the ones that they have, if you go look at the pricing and what they have, 90% of them sell out like 1 to 2 days when they launch them.
Yeah,
they do.
So
so wherever they have the price points, like they probably know, like,
They do.
we got some wiggle room in here.
Yeah.
Well, and we haven't touched on the walk-in permits yet. So those
don't ever sell out.
Yeah, I was curious. I was going to ask you. So I didn't know if there was a different quota for the walk-in permits and then the drive-in permits. There is.
There's more. So like every year when I look at the area that I hunt, which quit naming it in this podcast.
We'll bleep it out.
Yeah, when we look at that area, there's always like 50 to 75 walk-in permits like still available every year. People don't buy them.
What do they charge for those?
Why in the F would you? Honestly, like
why would you?
I know there's a few guys that do because I'll be like driving in and guys will be like hiked all the way up like the top of the first mountain and I'll be like, I'm like, God, I feel bad for that guy.
Can you bike like that? That allows you to ride a bike in,
yeah you can
but not like a.
So during elk season, I did see.
Does an e-bike count?
I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
but during archery elk season, there was a couple dudes that had 2 camps actually of guys that had biked in and set up like camps.
Yeah, which I mean, that's if you're gonna buy a walk-in
super good
permit,
idea.
If you're gonna buy a walk-in permit, that's the only way to do it.
Except they set them up. One of them up in our area. They need to get out.
One thing you got to remember too,
who
though.
I know who you are.
You got all these guys that bought a drive-in permit, and if you're a die-hard hunter and you're willing to put in the extra effort and go in there and camp like that, you got all these people that are kind of driving around and they're going to take the easier route,
For sure.
the easiest possible route they can. Guys that are on foot all the time, you're going to have an advantage there. If you're beating the brush, you're gonna be able to get away from people.
You're gonna get to some places that are probably overlooked too. People drive by a lot of.
That's
places.
what I was getting
the
at.
first
Yeah.
like 2 miles going in, I bet you people just go right on.
Exactly.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly. Yeah.
Why would you buy a drive-in permit
Places
if
that
if you're only gonna go like a mile or 2 in? That'd be so stupid.
So yeah, that first couple mile barrier could be holding a ton of animals and it's getting overlooked. So
There you
that's
go,
a good
Marlon, We
point.
just gave you a tip.
And no, it's not because I've looked at the first couple miles of area.
Oh, Marlon.
I've looked at the first couple miles of area, but I do think that sometimes I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, because I drive like a lot of times. Most of the areas that I'm hunting in are way in. They're like way into the middle of the area, and I always think like, dude, I wonder if I'm just driving by like freaking hundreds of deer, and it probably is. Probably because it's like right in the low country, like by all the people's houses, so that's probably where they're all at,
Yeah.
right there.
All being hand fed.
And I never see anyone
Suburban
hunting.
deer.
People
like
name them.
that first like couple miles when there's never anyone hunting.
No.
Well, and I noticed like when I bought the permit, they only had one gate open, but there was areas that you could take a highway to and get to a gate that if you were to go in that main gate, you would have to drive like 2 hours
way
to get there.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so if you kind of play that system,
Yeah.
that walk-in permit could be beneficial.
Yeah.
So
It's all uphill.
yeah,
All uphill.
yeah. Oh, you might know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to think about it, But
The biggest thing that I really feel bad about is like you get all these old timers. Like, dude, we're young. Like we're I call it like high tech redneck, whatever you want to call it. Like we have our Onyx
Strong
maps.
backs.
We have like so much information at our fingertips that you get these guys that they've been hunting the same property for 40, 50 years, and then all of a sudden it's like done.
they get hit with this. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, I like my heart goes out to him because that sucks, man. I can't imagine like I said, I'm fortunate. I didn't hunt it a lot, like very, very little. And to have that, like my area that I hunt, like all of a sudden just be like shut down. Like I don't know where to go. But like fortunately now, like I said, we have Onyx maps. We have we have all these like Google Earth. Dude, we do so much homework now. It's not even funny. Like that's how we become successful. And that's how I always feel like 10% of the hunters kill 90% of the animals.
Yep. And another thing we didn't touch on that I thought was pretty cool is like especially for like a big family, you can buy one permit and it covers your wife and all your kids.
Immediate family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be your household. Like it's not,
And that's one of the things I've used it for too a lot. Is like I'll take Sharon and Haley up
God,
in the hills.
dude, I didn't
like,
even
take
think
them up
about
in
that.
the
That's gotta be
snow,
so
like,
nice.
Yeah.
Dude, you can go up in the snow and like have a snow day with your family, and there's no one up there.
No
Yeah.
tracks.
No,
No ruts.
you can
Just
make
pow,
your
pow.
own tracks. Yeah, it's awesome, dude.
Wow.
It's freaking awesome.
I didn't even think about that. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's like your own recreation park.
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I think that's a
And then you can
huge
cut down your
advantage.
Christmas trees. Just kidding. Now they're going to be.
You're going to be getting a phone
We're
call.
gonna be getting a phone call.
All those Jack fir stumps. That was Marlin. Oh, that's funny.
No, kind of close up for me is I don't disagree with them, but they did hurt me in a way.
They hurt your feelings?
They hurt my feelings. I had the first 3 elk I killed were on Weyerhaeuser when it was open to the public, and since I've not bought a permit, and that's my choice. I could buy a permit.
Are you telling me your elk are not worth $300?
The area that I hunted is accessible by drive-in, so I banked on getting back there on bicycle or foot and having pretty much free reign on the whole entire area. I mean, we ran in like 5 years we hunted in there. I think we ran into like maybe half a dozen guys.
Wow.
In 5 years, and it was pretty awesome. I mean, some really, really good memories in there of that area. Not always successful, but just the amount of elk we seen and just chasing around the mountain, and the opportunities that we did have that sometimes weren't, successful. But that's where I'm hurt.
Yeah.
They opened it to driving in and kind of ruined it for me. There's no point, honestly, in my opinion, there's no point in me hunting it if you're not going to work for it. Like, I worked for that area and walked in, biked in, whatever way we chose.
Now somebody like Marlin can just drive in
now
there
we
and
can just
smoke them.
Now people can just drive in, and that kind of takes it away from me. I don't like seeing vehicles back where I'm hunting. I like being on foot. I like gates. I really like gates because I'll work harder.
So have you seen like more animals like over the years, Marlon? Like, I mean, because we were talking about like being able to pass up.
Yeah,
bucks.
I think he said, like the animals, when you put a price on the permit to go in there and it reduces the amount of people that are going in there, you're gonna see more animals.
Absolutely.
I do believe that.
Yeah, you definitely do, especially during archery season.
Oh, early or late?
Like early.
Oh, really?
Like, dude, that first rain, sometimes you can go in there and see 50, 60, 70 deer.
Wow.
I'm not even kidding. It's insane.
That's amazing.
That's very good for the area that you're hunting.
I'm not even kidding. And Josh, why do you think Josh and his dad buy the permit every year?
Yeah.
That's exponentially
wow.
way better than it used to be.
Yeah.
I know that because I know people who used to hunt that area, and that's amazing that you're seeing that many deer.
Yeah.
So I do think there is pluses to the permit.
I think there is more advantages than disadvantage in my eyes.
Yeah. I do. I agree with
Do
that.
I agree with everything Weyerhaeuser's doing? No, they're a giant corporate company, and their end goal at the end of the day is money and profit. And
It's
they
a
don't-
business. If
they
it doesn't
don't-
make dollars,
at the end
doesn't
of the
make
day,
sense.
they probably don't give two shits about elk and deer.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part about it. And that's where I wish there was a little bit of, we pay to hunt their lands, but it'd be nice if they,
Return the favor.
if they would show that they cared a little bit about the animals.
If they could put something,
And maybe they
conservation-
do. Maybe they do more than what we know, because I know they have like wildlife biologists and stuff that work certain permit areas and stuff.
Yep.
So, and I don't know what they do. So maybe they do some stuff that we don't know. But I know the way the land is managed is not conducive to what typical animals like. Like, there's just no.
The clear cut.
Dude, some of the clear cuts won't have food for 3 freaking years. Like, I'm not even kidding. It'll be insane.
It looks like a bomb went off.
Dude, it will look like
the
freaking
cut
Hiroshima
limbs,
for 3 years.
The cut limbs, the noxious weeds, I mean, they can definitely do a better job. And then this is not just Weyerhaeuser.
And I'm sure
a lot of timber companies. And I actually was told by another timber company on why they can't do this locally is because they get complaints. They can't do controlled burns anymore because they get complaints from suburban areas. And people don't understand.
Suburban areas, I tell you.
Back in high school, that was my job. I was a fire tender. I got paid to go watch slash piles burn.
That's an
That's a
awesome
job.
It used to be a job. I got paid.
Sure.
Not a lot of money.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Well, regardless, I didn't mean to get us derailed. Derailed. But what I was saying is, obviously, we don't agree with everything Weyerhaeuser does, but
not just
or
Weyerhaeuser,
any of the timberlands.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I'm
anyways,
gonna keep buying my permit.
we're going to wrap this up. In closing, guys, give us some feedback on how you guys feel about this.
Pay to play.
Yeah, this topic. It's a tough one for some and not so much for others. But give us some feedback. Let us know how you guys feel about this. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button, and I really hope that you're enjoying everything that we're talking about and learning from it.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of good suggestions on that post that I made. I don't know if you guys saw, so we need to go through there and start tackling a lot of those subjects.
Yeah.
So
There
I
was a ton of good suggestions from things people want to hear us talk about.
Yeah, and I wrote all those down, and a lot of those were already on our list that we had. But I love that. I love that everybody, gave
the
us
interaction, man.
ideas.
Dude, I love it.
We're making them for them, so
Yeah.
we're
Exactly.
making them for them to listen to and hang out with us. So let's make what they want.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Challenge-
guys for listening.
Challenge yourself to pick up garbage,
Absolutely.
whether on public or private land.
Dude,
Seriously,
big challenge.
it.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Dude,
Challenge
yeah.
yourself.
I think that rendezvous. I think we should plan that in the future. And
Yeah, keep an eye out on the page. Let's make a date, dude. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about it.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Yep.
For sure. I like that, Sean.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
See you later, guys.